If you're over 50, you've probably asked yourself this a million times. With all the conflicting advice out there, what's actually the best way to exercise for a longer, healthier life? Is it the calm focus of yoga, a simple daily walk, or should you be hitting the weights? It's a huge question, right? Well, today we're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to dive deep and break down what the latest science really says about these three super popular forms of exercise. And I got to tell you, the conclusions, they might just surprise you. All right, so first up, let's talk about the engine of our bodies, the heart. And this is where things get really interesting, because a fascinating study pitted two of our contenders, yoga and walking, against each other in a direct head-to-head competition. Okay, but before we can really dig into what this study found, we need to quickly get on the same page about something called pulse pressure. Now, this isn't your typical blood pressure reading. It's actually a super powerful indicator of how stiff your arteries are, which is a huge factor in heart health as we age. The simple rule is, the higher your pulse pressure, the higher the risk. So, here's how the study was set up. The researchers took a group of adults, all over 60 years old, and all with that elevated pulse pressure we just talked about. They then split it into two groups. One group got a daily 1-hour yoga program, while the other group was put on a daily 1-hour walking routine. And they kept this up for 3 months straight. And wow, the results were pretty striking. Just look at this. The yoga group, they saw their resting heart rate drop by more than 4 beats per minute. That's a major improvement. But the walking group, well, they saw basically no change at all. And that lower resting heart rate, that's a crystal clear sign of a healthier, more efficient heart. But wait, it gets even better for the yoga group. It wasn't just about heart rate. Yoga also reduced the heart's total workload. And, this is really important, it gave the heart more time to relax and fill up with blood between beats. Both of those things are absolutely crucial for long-term health. So the study's conclusion? Pretty clear. In this showdown, yoga was the hands-down winner for improving overall heart function. Okay, so does this mean we should all just toss our walking shoes in the trash? Well, not so fast. Turns out other research shows there was a critical piece of the puzzle missing from that study's walking plan, and it is an absolute game changer. This is where the intensity of your walk becomes everything. Check this out. A huge study found that, long, slow strolls do offer some benefit. But get this, just 15 minutes a day of brisk walking was linked to a nearly 20% drop in mortality risk. That's huge, especially from heart disease. The takeaway here couldn't be clearer. If you're walking for your heart, you've got to pick up the pace. All right, let's shift gears. We've talked about the engine, now let's talk about the chassis, the very framework that keeps us upright and moving around, our bones and our muscles. Now, this is just incredible. There was a 10-year study that followed hundreds of people, many of whom already had osteoporosis. They did a specific 12-minute yoga routine every single day. And the results? They didn't just stop bone loss, they actually saw a significant increase in bone density in their spine and femur, two of the most common spots for fractures. Think about that, just 12 minutes a day. So, yoga gets a big checkmark for bone density? Awesome. But are strong bones enough? Well, that's only half the story when it comes to our body's structure. There's another piece to the puzzle that becomes absolutely critical as we get older, our muscles. And here's the hard truth about aging. Starting around age 40, we all start to lose about 3 to 8% of our muscle mass every single decade. It's a process called sarcopenia. And this right here is exactly why strength training goes from being just a nice to have to being absolutely essential if you want to stay independent and strong. Now, let's be real, lifting weights isn't always easy. You definitely need more recovery time, and you have to focus on proper form to avoid getting hurt. But the upside? Oh, it is massive and undeniable. When it comes to fighting that muscle loss, boosting your metabolism, and just building the raw strength you need for daily life, strength training is the undisputed champ, no question. So, we've covered heart health, strong bones, and solid muscle. But what does it all mean? How does this stuff translate into our actual day-to-day lives? How do we use it to stay independent, active, and prevent frailty? You might find this surprising, but researchers have found two incredibly simple, yet ridiculously powerful predictors of a long life. The first one, your walking speed. The second, how easily you can get out of a chair without using your hands. I know it sounds basic, but these simple actions tell us a ton about your underlying strength, balance, and even your heart health. And look who's back in the picture. It's yoga.
A massive review that looked at 33 different studies found that practicing yoga significantly improves both of those key longevity markers, walking speed and the chair rise test. Why? Because it builds exactly the kind of functional leg strength and balance you need to do both well. Of course, yoga isn't the only game in town for this. There are other fantastic, low-impact options. Think about cycling, the beautiful, flowing movements of Tai Chi, swimming, or even simple chair exercises. All of these are proven ways to keep and improve your mobility without putting a bunch of stress on your joints. Okay, so we've looked at the big picture, the heart, the bones, the muscles, but now let's zoom way, way in. We're going to go from the whole body down to the microscopic level to see where exercise might be doing its most profound anti-aging work, right inside our very cells. To understand this, we need to talk about telomeres. And the best way to think about them is like the little plastic tips on your shoelaces. They're these protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes that stop our DNA from fraying. Now, every single time our cells divide, those little caps get a tiny bit shorter. And over a lifetime, that shortening is a fundamental part of why our cells age. And this is the really incredible part. Research is now showing that consistent exercise, especially endurance stuff like that brisk walking we talked about, or cycling or swimming, can actually help protect and maintain the length of those telomeres. Let that sink in. This means exercise can literally slow down a core mechanism of aging right at the genetic level. That's just amazing. Okay, so after looking at all of this evidence, let's circle ball way back to our original question. Which one is it? Is it yoga, walking, or weights? What is the real secret to aging well? Well, the truth is, there isn't one single magic bullet. It's more like a toolkit, and each type of exercise is a unique and powerful tool for a specific job. You want to protect your heart? You've got yoga and brisk walking. For bone density, that's yoga and strength training. Need to fight off muscle loss? Strength training is king. Mobility and balance? Yoga and Tai Chi really shine there. And for that deep cellular health, it's all about endurance exercise. So you see, the most powerful strategy isn't about choosing a side, team yoga versus team weights. The real secret is creating a balanced, well-rounded plan that uses the unique strengths of each of them. It's about combining all these elements, flexibility, strength, endurance, to build a body and a mind that are truly resilient for the long haul. So the secret isn't really a secret after all, it's a blueprint. It's all about understanding what each type of movement can do for you and then building your own personal plan for a longer, stronger, and healthier life. So, knowing all this, the only question left is, what's one move you're going to make this week?